name for the record and present his or her request. Now, we ask that you come to the center podium and adjust the microphone so that it picks up your voice, because we record the meeting as part of the public record. The board will ask any questions they've had after your presentation. Anyone wishing to speak to the proposal will be asked to come forward and voice their concerns, and you can use this podium or the one in the center. All comments should be about the project presented. This is not a venue to air personal grievances. If you hear the gavel, you are out of order, and if you persist, you will be removed from the meeting. Once your request is heard and the board's decision is rendered, you may leave the meeting. However, if you have questions for staff, please wait until after the meeting is over to ask them, or you may contact them at the office the following day. Once public testimony and discussion for a particular item is concluded, members of the board will deliberate and render a decision. Members with a personal or financial interest in any request are required to recuse themselves from voting. All decisions by the Architecture Review Board are final. Any person having a request for a certificate of appropriateness denied by the board or may appeal such denial to the Montgomery County Circuit Court. Any such appeal shall be filed with the Circuit Court within 30 days after receipt of the notice of the final decision of the board. We have 7 members present tonight. It takes 5 votes to pass a motion. If you want a full complement of board members present, you can delay your request, but please let us know at the time your request is announced. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce members of the Architecture Review Board. I'm Elizabeth Brown, Jake Johnson, Barry Robinson, all right, John Hayden, Sam Youse, Hillary Morgan, Kalia Bell. All right, good. Now, they have given me an almost impossible task here. I have to toggle between computer documents. So let's see if I can get my information about the board. Yes, it came right back up. I'm amazed. All right, the first person on the agenda is, sorry y'all. I'm getting there. All right, we have Cassie Warren from 1201 Magnolia Curve, Old Cloverdale. Pergola in the façade of the front yard. Somebody let me know if Cassie comes in.
Okay.
All right.
She'll be on Zoom.
Okay. Bama Realty, request for an after-the-fact approval to replace 13 windows for the property located at 1131 Magnolia Curve, Old Cloverdale.
Hi, I'm Dio, representing for Bama Realty Group. We put the wooden grids on as ordered, and I think it looks good. The grids can't go any closer to the window because then they won't be operational.
Okay. Is there anyone from the audience to speak to this project? Comments from the board? Well, go ahead.
I don't necessarily have an issue with the wood grids at this point in time with the windows. However, my only concern is the fact that we've originally denied the request.
Hillary, can you speak up? It's
Yeah,
hard to-
sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so my issue isn't necessarily the grids, okay? I wish that the grids were attached to the windows appropriately attached to the windows and appropriately done in general. But my biggest concern is the fact that this original request was denied by the board. So,
I voted for it, not for the denial, for the project.
for the project. So, I
I think
mean,
it looks good. I think the only concern I have is the maintaining it, and, you know, your neighbors will notice if it's not maintained and the wood rots. So I think that you just need to make sure that you keep an eye on the project. I think that was the main concern.
is that the
You
main?
might also tell folks with Bama Realty, and I don't know if you own it or are a member, that going against, you can't hear me? If they have other rental properties in historic districts and go against the rulings of the board in the future,
I know we've learned our lesson.
well, I hope so. You need to let them know, because you'll have a no vote right here if you have to come back again, unless I change my mind. But given how it looks and the other comments from the board members, I think it does look good. Should have been brought to our attention prior to installation, but here we are.
Are there any other comments? May I have a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted at this point?
All right. All in favor?
Need a second, Madam
Oh,
Chair.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Somebody say
I'll second it. All in favor? Opposed? All right, thank you.
Wait, y'all went way too fast.
Okay.
In favor of?
In favor of?
1, 2, 3, 4. So it fails.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I have some comments from the
Sorry.
people who
Hold
voted?
on. Cedric, did you vote?
I'm abstaining, Tanya, because I missed most of the conversation.
Okay, got it.
So, does it still fail?
I'd just like to point out that one thing that wasn't clear the last time was we had discussed using the applied muntins onto the glass, the raised profile ones. The problem with the windows are that if you put the profiled muntins on the glass, the windows would not open. There's not enough space in the windows to apply profiled muntins and allow the windows to open. So if they did that, the windows effectively would not be usable. And so after a lot of discussion, and there maybe was some miscommunication when this first came to the board about what the applicant was requested to do over a year ago, I believe, they did make this effort to try and make the windows appear like the originals in a way that would be preferable to having flat muntins on the windows. And so this, we believe, does give the windows at least some profile and allows the windows to be opened. And so we felt that in this particular case, even though this isn't the way we would necessarily go, that at least there does appear to be some depth to the windows. And so we felt this was a possible solution after discussing it after the previous denial. And that's why we've brought it back, because the only other option would be to replace every single window in the house. And we're just trying to get a resolution on this one. And I did discuss it with, I believe he's the vice chair or the chair of the Cloverdale Association, and I explained our situation. And while, you know, it's not what they would like to see, they at least understood our position here. So that's why we thought it should be reconsidered, because at least there is still some depth to the actual windows.
Tanya, can you change my vote can you change my vote to a yes?
Okay.
On that.
Then the motion passes then.
All right, you passed.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I didn't hear you.
He's got the first,
Our pergola in the front yard at Magnolia Curve is here. Miss Cassie Warren?
Hi, yes. Can you hear me?
yes.
Miss Warren?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know it was my turn to talk. Okay, so I'm here. Come back with the picture. Hopefully, you guys can see it. What I would like, and the dimensions are the same as I submitted before, pending any questions.
Over to the far right-hand side. Oh, if you turn the house over to that basket, one story. And Cassie, I'm assuming that the open side of this pergola is towards the walk in your yard, is that correct?
Yes, it should be facing pretty much the center of my front yard.
Okay.
And just so you can remember, it's a corner lot there, so I just thought it would be nice and pretty.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience to speak to this project? Yes, ma'am. Come forward, please. Thank you. That's all right. Your name, please.
Okay, my name is Kelly Smith, and my husband and I have been living next door to this property for over 2 years now. And to give some background on myself, I graduated from Auburn University's architecture program in 2017. And I spent some time in New York City as well, working for a architecture firm that specializes in historic preservation. I also have worked at Tibbetts Baker Architecture here in Montgomery as well. I'm now working out of my home as a residential designer. So that being said, I have a few concerns about the pergola in my neighbor's front yard. One is, Old Cloverdale is a beautiful historic neighborhood, and this is what drew Charlie and I to the neighborhood. We frequently walk around the neighborhood, and we've noticed that there are no permanent structures in any other front yards in the district. Another concern is that the sketches submitted are not clear and are not to scale. There are no actual plans or renderings of the proposed structure. There is one note that says the proposed pergola is 10 by 20 feet. 20 feet would basically span the entire length of our front yard screen space, since we're right next door. And it appears to be on our property line as well. At a height of 9 feet, this would block not only my family's views to the neighborhood, but the entire north side of Magnolia Curve's views as well. There are several large trees on our property line, and it's not clear how the pergola would be placed in consideration of the existing landscape. So in my opinion, a structure of this size would detract from the unique architectural elements and charm that this home brings to the neighborhood. So overall, I believe that this proposal doesn't align with the design standards of Old Cloverdale. And I respectfully request the review board to either deny this proposal or postpone a decision in order to give the property owners time to produce accurate and complete drawings. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other one who wants to speak to this project? Any comments from the board?
I think Ms. Smith expressed some very valid concerns, some that I was going to ask about. I mean, this is a fairly big project. It's a corner lot. I certainly would like to see more detailed designs and specifically where it's going to be in the yard. If it's going to be close to property lines, I don't know if there are going to be any setback problems. I'd also like to know what the design is going to be. I know photograph 1A has I guess an example of a pergola designed on March 8, 24, but I mean, I would like to see exactly what Ms. Warren intends to put in her front yard if she's granted permission. So I'd like to see some more specifics before we go forward with voting, and that's not saying I'll vote one way or the other. I just want to, the sketch that we have in 1B, and I understand sometimes we don't need scale drawings, but in a case like this, I think some better drawings would benefit the board.
Any other comments?
Yes. You have to come up.
You have to come up, I'm sorry.
Quick comment.
Your name, please?
Carol Jones, 1241 Magnolia Curve.
Okay.
You know, they're like 3 houses down from us, and I didn't even realize, I mean, I'm opposed to this in the first place, but the thought of this pergola going like basically all the way to the street, which will just impede, impair, whatever, our vision to the rest of the street, no.
All right, thank you. Any further comments?
My comment, and this is for the homeowner, you have a valuable asset in your neighbor, and the one thing that I don't, and this has nothing to do with the board, but living in a place where you want to have a harmonious living environment, maybe you should take just a little bit of time and talk to your neighbor and see what she might be able to help you through, because one thing about architecture, it really is based off of numbers and what can actually fit in a space. We're looking at a Google Maps photo of your home, and you have this area between your property and your neighbor's property that seems to be an older green space that at one point in time maybe had some beautiful flowers or whatever. And I'm not really sure whether you want to get rid of that and kind of replace that area with this pergola-esque structure, and then bring some flowers and gardens or whatever to the front area. But I do think that because of where you are, you really do have to have a little more structure to your drawings so that it articulates exactly what it is that you're trying to do. Now, if this is in your backyard, it would be totally different because we don't necessarily look at backyards, and it would be more, just for you. But when you put it in the front yard, it becomes something that everybody has to either admire or dislike or whatever. And what you really don't want to do in life is upset everybody in your neighborhood. And you just have a really, I hope you're a nice neighbor. Are you a nice neighbor? So she says she's a nice neighbor. Yeah, and everybody here on your street, they say they're nice. So, if you come back and tell us that they're not nice, just video it or whatever. But hopefully you all can work together and figure out something that will satisfy what you're trying to do, your vision for the corner, because corner houses are special, because I have one too. I know exactly how you feel. But definitely do something with your sketches that is a bit more to scale and detailed. That would help us out tremendously.
Thank you.
My concern also that lies with it lies on 2 things. One, based on the site plan that was given, it looks like there's a type of paver or something suggested with this circular pattern of flower beds and bricks that are included. But then also it notes in the top that Ms. Warren indicates she may lay down pavers or brick later, but they would only be temporary in nature. And as such, I think that if you start, the more bricks and solids we start putting down in the front yard of this corner house, the more you're sitting there building it up, right? And taking away from the integrity of the front of the house itself. So we talk a lot about, when people come in, about parking pads and stuff in the front yards and trying to minimize those views as much as possible. But I think this plan really is suggesting adding more structure to the front of a house that really probably doesn't necessarily need it from the architecture that it has in the street in itself.
Well, I think that the picture provided sort of surprised me in its relative modernness. And I'm not saying we couldn't put a modern structure for a pergola in our historic districts. I think that we probably could. But this one is a touch modern for the sort of English cottage style of your house. I would want to see, before we could approve it, exactly how big it was going to be, exactly where it was going to be in the yard, and exactly what it looked like. And I would hope that maybe we could come up with something that's slightly less modern than this one is. It's wonderful to have a front porch. I certainly enjoy and use mine, and you don't have a porch and really know where to put one. So this would sort of be like your front porch, but it needs to be consistent and compatible with your house and the other houses in the neighborhood. Anybody else? Do you want us to continue this so that you can bring more clarified designs to the next meeting?
Are you asking me? I'm sorry.
Would 30 days,
Can you hear me?
would 30 days be enough, of which like 60 or 90? We can table this for,
To be,
ma'am?
no, yeah, to be completely honest, can we just remove it? Because it was kind of just like an extra thing, and at this point, I'm not really concerned about it.
All right.
So,
All right. Well, you have taken on a house that needed a lot of work, and I continue to want to support what you want to do in the neighborhood. It was on the verge of becoming very bad, and you have done some wonderful things so far. So I want to continue to encourage you and not discourage you from this little setback. So if you want to come back, come back. From points of order.
thank you.
Do we need to reject, deny the project? Is that what we need to do?
Yeah, Ms. Warren, if you could just email me saying that you would like to withdraw the application, then that would be sufficient.
I specifically, sorry, I already did email you, but I just specifically said withdraw that part of it because I know it was kind of part of the whole thing. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure, that'd be fine.
All right, thank you. Devin and Bhushan, Bopche? Request for approval to install a new privacy fence for the property at 3149 LeBron. All right.
Hello there. I'm Bhushan. I'm with my wife Devin here. We are requesting your approval to install the privacy fence at 3149 LeBron. The fence will be 6 inch to the height, 6 feet, sorry, and then it's going to just run from both the sides until the end. We already have a fence from the neighbor, so we are not going to install any other fence there. We're just going to run parallel. It's going to be around 335 linear feet long from both the sides. And the reason is just for privacy. We have a little dog. We want her to be like, play in the backyard, and also we keep seeing foxes, raccoons. I think it will help a lot.
All right. Any questions or comments from the audience?
Charlie Colvin with the Cloverdale Idlewild Association, the CIA,
Yes.
and we have no objections to this project.
All right. All right. I'll just make this a suggestion. It would look nicer if the two pieces that face the street, if that fence were stained, so that it looked dressier, and then, you don't have to do anything to the rest of the fence unless you just want to, but that would look better. But that's not a condition, that's just, my opinion. Anybody who comes very often knows that I hate dog-eared fences, although I have one in my yard too. So just trying to make them look a little more appropriate.
Most of us have dog-ear fences in our yards.
Yes, we do. I just happen to hate them more than most people, I guess.
And mine is fading nicely already, right now, so. Stain, no stain. Eventually it'll get dark.
Mine is falling down is what it's doing. Any other comments on this project? May I have a motion then?
I move to approve as submitted.
Second.
All in favor? All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Lovely house. Okay, Matthew Schwonek, 303 Felder Avenue, the corner of Felder and Hull Street, I believe.
Indeed. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Board, I come here to humbly petition you for permission to replace the deck at the rear of 303 Felder Avenue. The old deck is rapidly deteriorating, and with the new, I wish to improve construction and the property's appearance. The current deck is in really bad shape. All the skirting is rotten. 1/4 of the decking is rotten. I actually replaced about 1/3 of the decking last year, but also substructure is also rotten, including one of the supporting posts. Poor materials and bad ventilation are mostly to blame. I've repaired over the past couple of years, and I really can't do anything more other than completely replace the structure. In replacing the deck, I aim to improve upon the former. While the deck is screened from two sides by fences and of neighboring properties, and on Hull Street by an oak tree and a couple of crepe myrtles, this is the entrance that I use most. And I have to entertain out there, and I relax outside, and I really want to improve the appearance. I take real pride in my property. I've selected a design that is in harmony with the character and style of the home, as well as surrounding structure. The plan which you have in elevations present the design. I've opted for a simple design. This is, the flashier you try for, the more likely it is to clash with the style of the house. I'll use a small number of decorative elements, including ornamental caps and bases for the posts. The design features post-to-post railings with proper balusters, rounded rails, instead of the usual Home Depot 2x4 specials. Decorative fascia will be attached to the frame, and we'll use classic white for the fascia trim and rails. The decking will be a weathered wood. It's called veneer. My main goal, though, is to build a deck of some construction that will last a good deal longer than the last one, which is 11 years. The construction will use poured concrete footings. I'd like the posts to rest on the footings to ensure that they remain high and dry. This should provide a strong foundation and prevent water from entering. The substructure is going to use pressure-treated wood. That's the problem that we've had in the past, but it really can't be helped. And with good ventilation and good foundations, I think we'll keep mold and rot at bay. For the decking, rails, fascia, caps, bases, we'll use Trex, which is a manufactured product, 95% recycled wood in high-density polyethylene plastic. It's a very high-strength material. It's immune to rot and decay, which will benefit the underlying structure. And it maintains its good looks for a long period and is generally very pleasing to the eye. That's the end of my remarks, and I'm ready to answer any questions that you might have.
All right, is there anyone from the audience to comment on this project? Ms. Callaway?
Laura Callaway with the Garden District Preservation Association. We have no objection to the project.
Okay. Comments from the board?
Just had to replace several boards in my deck on the back, I certainly empathize with you.
Yeah, at 62, it's not getting any easier.
Nope. At 73, it isn't either.
That's why I have good people that I can pay to take care of it, and they just send me a bill. So, looks nice. I think you'll enjoy it a lot.
Thank you.
Are you going to put some lattice or any kind of screening underneath the deck?
I can put a lattice, heavy-duty plastic with a frame on it to preserve ventilation as well as cover up the sides if you like.
I don't know if it's necessary. I think it looks better. I mean, it's a deck. I mean, I don't know if it needs it, but
I do drive by it every day, you know.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Well, I do drive by it every day, more than once.
You can see it from the street, so I think the
Yes.
skirt will.
Okay, that's true. That's true.
Normally, it wouldn't make that much difference because decks are in the back of the house, but this is on a fairly prominent corner.
And that's where mine is, but since it is, I guess, from the street, if you could do a little sheeting, that would, I think, have a little more eye appeal to it, just, which is certainly what looks like you're going for.
Mm-hmm. So put a lattice on it?
Yes. Lattice would be fine, you know, a straight. I put straight lattice on one time. I thought it looked really good. I think most anything you wanted to do. I agree that the previous enclosure was too much because, and led to moisture problems.
Yeah.
Probably not to mention animals, something shut up like that, you get an animal in there, you may not know they're there until they pass away, and then that's when the fun starts. So
That's why you have to leave
that's why
access to get underneath.
Lattice, I think, would work much better.
If there's no other discussion, can we have a motion?
I move to approve as presented with the use of a vinyl lattice screening around the perimeter of the fence. I mean the deck.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Excellent, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Nick Henninger, 15 North Goldthwaite Street, Cottage Hill.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nick Henninger. I'm with Chambliss King Architects. I'm representing Danielle and Anthony Spate on this project for 15 Goldthwaite. The project's kind of a multi-function building. It has 3 different spaces. The largest is kind of a restaurant bar setup that can be rented out. The center is a teaching kitchen or demonstration kitchen. And then the last is a open multi-purpose workshop space. The stuff that we're doing to the building, we are planning to replace all of the storefront, which is currently deteriorating and falling down. There was also a car that somehow ran into the building. So there will be some rebuilding.
And that was not easy in this location either.
No, it's not. I still haven't quite figured out how you do that, but with those retaining walls. So we will be rebuilding the brick, but in the same kind of form that it is already. Another plan is to paint the exterior just at the front of the building. So kind of an off-white for the body, and then under the storefront would be kind of a dark charcoal gray. The sides and the back would remain exposed brick, just cleaned up and kind of restored. The cast stone on the front, we'd clean it and seal it, so we'd leave that exposed. At the back, we are doing a little addition, not any enclosed space, but just a covered seating area. So there's a little lean-to roof with some paving underneath. And then we're also adding a wood fence around the property line. So basically connecting to the building and wrapping all the way at the back of the property.
All right. Any comments from the audience about this project?
Ms. Brown, we did receive comments from the Cottage Hill Foundation.
All right.
So I'd like to go ahead and share those.
Okay.
The first comment or question is, are there any plans for on-site parking? Street parking is often constrained by adjacent businesses and will likely become even more constrained when the hotel and cultural center opens. Second, it is the neighborhood's preference that the brick on the front elevation remains unpainted. And third, the Cottage Hill Foundation asked about the existing, or commented that the existing storefront is a wood storefront. And they asked, are there any ARB precedents in other commercial buildings where a wood storefront was replaced with aluminum? So to answer that third one, I did reach out to Christy Anderson, my predecessor. She could not think of any precedents for this kind of situation, but she did point out that the storefront on this building is actually a replacement. It is not original. It was replaced in 2016, and that did get the ARB's approval beforehand. And so she was pointing out that, that we would be more concerned actually with maintaining the fenestration of the windows and the door openings rather than the materials in this case. And so, yeah, those are just comments and then answer in response to that third question.
All right.
So, Madam Chair, a question for Sean. Does the T4 zoning require off-street parking?
I believe it's within quarter of a mile of the building in that area that they can park. And we are aware that there is a significant amount of development going on up there. And so when the hotel project came in, we did make it absolutely clear that we did not want to see parking in the residential area. And that would be a similar thing here. Because of the amount of development going on, we will be taking measures to make sure that people do not park in the residential area. Now, obviously, that comes down to enforcement and how we're going to do it. We are very conscious of that, but there is no requirement for them to provide on-site parking. But we do anticipate that, or we are trying to ensure that people do not park in the residential area when they are using the commercial facilities there.
Yeah, I just don't see, if the zoning doesn't require it, I don't see how we could make that a requirement of them.
So no, we can't require it, but we are making it clear that we will be certainly monitoring it. And having seen situations before where new restaurants, new bars, new hotels open up and then people park in residential areas, the residents are the first people to tell us, hang on, this is a problem. So that is certainly something we want to stay on top of.
Yeah, well, you have Hilltop there and you have a beauty shop, so good luck on trying to monitor that.
Yeah, it could mean putting up signage, it could mean permit-only parking, it could mean extra police enforcement, but it's one of these things when you see a sort of neighbourhood centre developing and there's no parking requirement, we have to address it in the ways that are available to us.
Right. Any other comments from the board?
Mr. Henninger, is the brick, is it yellow or was that painted? Is it already painted?
It's not already painted. It's like a tan brick.
Okay.
It's tan on just the front, and the sides and the back are red brick.
Yeah. And of course, it looks like it hasn't been cleaned in decades.
Since it was built, probably.
It's been a while.
My really only concern concerning the project, I think it's a good project, is the painting of the brick. I think a good power wash might, brighten it up. I guess you want to, want it to look lighter, brighter, kind of have a little eye catch, and certainly understand that.
Right.
I think if that brick got a serious power wash, that's pretty yellow. That's something I think would stand out pretty good.
Yeah, it's not the prettiest existing brick we could be working with.
I understand that also.
Yeah.
But again,
In an urban location like this, white paint would be dirty in a year. So if we were going to approve painting, I think it would need to be a darker color, but I think we ought to try, getting somebody who, maybe not the power washing, but somebody who has, D2 or some other good cleaner and a natural bristle brush and a hose pipe to scrub the building down would be a better preservation fit and probably serve the owners better as far as maintenance is concerned. I have no problems with the metal storefront. If this is a new storefront and it was put on less than 10 years ago and it's already rotten, we need to do something different.
That was part of the decision. It's just concerns with
Something
maintenance,
different needs to
not wanting that to happen again. With the painting, if we weren't allowed to paint the body, I'd still request that we could paint under the storefront. And it actually did used to be painted before they did the renovation. I guess they were able to get the paint off somehow.
Okay.
But they've also the base, that brick base where the storefront is, isn't actually original either. They came back and added that. And even if we leave it, it would be nice for that base to kind of blend in with the storefront because just
storefronts are like dresses, you get a new one every time you change something, so it's very unusual to find anything about a storefront that's original.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have any problem with the bulkhead being painted if the brick were cleaned up.
So doesn't the yellow brick kind of go in or coincide with the brick color at Hilltop, which is right next to this building? I mean, it's not like it clashes.
No,
it's in kind.
The bar down the street is yellow brick. I mean, it's sort of like the Cloverdale, the Cottage Hill commercial brick color was this yellow brick from 1910, 1920, something like that.
So I just think keeping it that color is, in character.
Yep. Any other comments? Who wants to craft a motion today?
Madam Chair, I really don't think there is any, it's not difficult. We have 5 enumerated requests that's for us, and I would move that all be granted with the exception of request number 2, which is the painting of the brick. I think all other requests, I don't see that anyone's had any objection or difficulty. There's been no objection from the audience or any, I don't think too much from the Cottage Hill Association. So I would move that we approve all 5 been a while since I've made a motion, been retired too long. I move that we grant requests 1, 3, 4, and 5, and deny request number 2, which is the painting of the brick.
Except in the bulkhead, below the windows.
Anybody have a problem with that, the bulkhead?
I do.
Okay.
It's just me, just one vote.
One thing to mention as well, that part of the concern was trying to match the brick and doing the repairs of the building, where the car ran into it and busted it up.
That was really what I was sitting up here thinking, when you do that restoration of that little area, to me, that would be where my eye would go. And considering the building next door, which I don't think is being used right now, is that weird looking gray. A clean, new view of that building, although historic, but new and modernized, I don't think it would be a bad thing. I just think that we need to definitely approve what color will be utilized, since it won't be for the whole building, just the front. I don't see a problem with painting the front of that building.
Well, let me just withdraw.
I'm seconding John's right now, unless he changes it.
Well, hang on. Let me withdraw that motion, and let's just kind of nail down everything. Why don't we take them one at a time? Maybe I tried to do too much. I've done that before. I move that we approve item number 1, the replacement of the deteriorated storefront.
Second.
All in favor? Right.
We'll save the brick for last. I move that we approve request in item number, enumerated item 3, the altar rear portion of the building for accommodation of open air seating for the restaurant.
Second.
All in favor?
Move that we approve item number 4, the installation of a fence around the lot.
All in favor?
And finally, I move to approve item enumerated number 5, the lean-to roof at the rear of the building.
Second.
All in favor?
Now, let's talk about the brick. Nick, have y'all looked for brick? I mean, have you looked?
Have we started the process of trying to match?
Yeah. Okay.
This is Richard.
Yeah, I'm Richard. So we've been looking high and low for that brick, and just from what we're seeing, it's gonna be a hard match. We found some brick in that area, but that's one of our biggest concerns.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know when the previous renovation to the storefront was done, there was some patching of the existing masonry wall, and they were able to source some brick that matched very closely. I think, Nick, you mentioned the kind of low wall. Some of those areas were patched, and it used a brick that was very similar. It may be worth reaching out to the previous owner to see if they have a source of where that brick came from.
Would there be a way after repairs of the storefront to just paint that portion and match the existing color? Or I knew you were going to look at it.
I think we might have more folks popping up down here against us if we do that one.
I guess this is why they pay us the big bucks.
Yep. So much money, so much money.
It's an opportunity for somebody to be creative if you can't find it.
Right. Can we rebuild the bulkhead and salvage those bricks to repair the side where that column is missing?
You're saying take the brick
from the bottom,
the low walls to use there,
yeah,
and then get different brick to.
And it doesn't, since you're going to paint it, it doesn't have to match.
Since he wants to paint it.
Right.
I can be persuaded to go with the bulkhead. I think that might solve two problems. You use the brick, if you're going to take it from the bulkheads to maybe do the repairs if that's possible, because you're going to paint the bulkhead. So
Yeah, that's what we'd like.
Okay.
So
let's just make sure we got it all squared away before I try this motion again.
So we're going to throw one more. I have a thing. Would this be a thing? You basically have the brick. I think it looks like a brick soldier. That's right up. It is right above the storefront that runs along the entire top. It's keeping the original brick at the top from that soldier beam up, and then allowing for the columns and the base to be painted. Okay, an approved color by the board.
Well, we don't want to end up with looking like the top. I think that might work, but we need to be careful that the top doesn't end up looking like it's
floating. Yeah. Because the reason I'm bringing that up is
it's a line.
It's a line. And even if you keep the two, I'm even okay saying the soldiers to the cornice above, okay, maintain that brick. And then the columns on the side, the end columns on both sides, which would allow for the 3 interior columns and the base to be painted, okay? And that would allow for the storefront and the interior of it to blend, but then the historic brick to remain, okay, and be cleaned, which would blend with the rest of the street that we have going on. As a solution, I'm just trying to bring a solution to you.
Yeah, Nick, what she said. She's a resident architect, I'm not.
Really, couldn't he do something similar with the columns? I mean, he could change out a couple of the columns and keep a couple natural. I think the architect can present something instead of us having to figure it out for him.
I think that's it. I think we could table, I'm okay tabling the paint until the next board meeting to discuss what you're going to do at the front to give you more time to present.
It might be the best thing. I think y'all have plenty of work to do. It's going to be taking you a little time, and I think the brick, I mean, I know you got to repair it, obviously. And if you can find a matched brick, I mean, we've had that happen before, especially older roofs where you have certain materials that are no longer manufactured. Allow someone, okay, they're going to take old tiles from the back, but that are not seen from the street, repair the front, then put in the new stuff in the back. That way it's not seen. We know it, sometimes something that was made back in the early 1900s is not being made anymore. But I would agree it would be a good idea to maybe
Another suggestion might be to have have the top and the two corners come down with the brick unpainted, and then replace the 1, 2, 3 columns in the interior with whatever it is you want to do, or paint those.
Yeah, that's a possibility. We'd want to study it. So yeah, it might make sense to table the paint.
Okay.
And maybe we take a go at cleaning and actually seeing what exactly we're working with.
Okay.
Explore that option of just painting the central columns.
One quick question. I like what you just said, and if you think it doesn't look quite right, could you go ahead and submit like some color variations of what you all would like to make it look like? Whether, that be one rendering with a solid painted front, whatever color, and then that two-tone situation, and how that would look, because it's just a cute building. Like, you don't want to kill it with color.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know me anyway, I'm a visual person. I know you're telling me what you want to do, but it bugs the heck out of my wife. I just tell her, I need to see it to.
Well, so we've approved everything except what you're going to do with the facade, and you're going to come back. We're going to table that one, and you're going to come back at the next meeting with a plan for how to deal with the facade.
Okay.
Do you, 30 days enough, or do you need 60?
I guess it would be nice to be able to kind of clean it up and stuff. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, let's plan for 30 days.
30?
Okay. 30? Okay.
Okay, as far as item number 2, painting the facade, I move that we table that until the June meeting, which is June 25th. Tuesday, June 25th.
John, can we give them the opportunity to bring it back when they have it ready, in case, because I'm assuming Sean and Warren, to be on the June meeting, they'll have to have something to you soon. So give them the flexibility of bringing it back when they're ready.
Yeah, the deadline is approaching very fast. So if we do just 60 days, then, that'll give them time to produce what they need to. And if you have it in enough time, then we can get you on for June. So I'll just follow up with an email as far as the deadline goes, so you'll know.
Okay, I'm in the motion to 60 days, and I'm sorry I don't have the exact date, but it is the 4th Tuesday in July.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
Second.
Yeah.
All in favor? All right.
So it seems like a cool project, and did you say it's going to be a
cool.
teaching kitchen?
Yes, that is part of it, kind of a demonstration kitchen.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Oh, sorry.
Dan Davis, we're approved for the demolition and replacement of a mother-in-law apartment at 1924 Norman Bridge Court, Garden District. Mr. Davis, I can't imagine why you want to replace that building. It just looks wonderful.
Yeah, I know, right?
A lot of character there.
Well, at one time, I'm sure it was pretty nice. But it's not, from what I looked into trying to have it rehabbed, but the contractors, I've talked to 2 different contractors, and both of them said it was just way too far gone to try to rehab it.
Okay.
You know, so I'm not a construction person myself, so I can only go by what they're recommending.
Right, you provided us with some drawings of what you want to put back.
Yes,
And it's
I
going to be on
did,
the same, is it on a slab? So you'll put it on the
Yeah,
old
it'd be on
slab?
a slab, yes.
Okay.
There's you should have a drawing picture
Yes,
of
yes.
not just that floor plan
Yep.
there. That's kind of a rough. There it is. So that's what I'm hoping it's going to look like.
Are there any comments on this project from the audience?
Laura Calloway, Garden District Preservation Association. We do not have any issue with the replacement structure. Our only concern is the same as the urban foresters of that old oak tree. We would surely like to see that protected as much as possible.
Right, and we are. I don't think it will not be like in the way of construction. We are going to have some limbs pruned back because it is so massive.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
Hopefully keep any limbs from falling on the structure, most especially the new structure. So.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Do you know if you're going to be able to put your new building on the same slab foundation, or that a lot of times is where we get in trouble with larger, more mature trees, is they're disrupted by grading and laying down foundations. Do you know, have you been able to tell if the slab that's there is going to be usable?
I don't believe it's on a slab.
You don't think it's on a slab?
No.
So it's a conventional foundation?
Yeah, I think it's because, I mean, I haven't been in there myself personally, but the contractor said that he said it's very likely that you could fall through that floor.
Well, I have no doubt the building is beyond help. And I didn't look over this as closely as I could. Do you plan to have a slab foundation, or will there be a crawl space underneath the building?
I hadn't planned on having a crawl space, no.
So it would be a slab?
It would be a slab.
Okay.
Yes.
Again, I don't have any problem as long as Mr. Davis and his construction people would work with the urban forester, making sure, I don't know what the spread is on the root system of the tree, if laying is, and I can't really tell how close the tree is to the, I'm looking at a photograph of the tree in the old building. I really can't tell how close they are together.
It's, you know, I'd probably say the tree itself is probably 20 feet or so away from the structure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not right, it's not up against it, obviously.
No, no, it's not up against it, and it's also kind of out in front of it.
Yeah.
You know, it's ahead of the front of the structure itself.
I think that the safest thing to do usually is to put up a temporary fence around a tree, and that keeps casual workers on the project from pulling up and parking right up next to the tree, which would damage the root system. So just protect that as construction goes on. And do consult with Russell about trimming the tree, if you don't mind. If Russell, I pointed like Russell was there and he's not.
Yeah.
I don't think Russell's with us anymore.
Yeah.
Russell's not with us anymore, right? You're the new Russell.
The new Russell.
No one told.
I'm the current interim Orm Snow, so
Cool. Okay.
I'll be
Thank you.
the person you speak to about it.
Okay.
Okay, well, okay, problem kind of solved itself there. All right, I'm done talking.
All right. Any other comments on this project? Then may I have a motion?
I move to approve as submitted with the understanding that the homeowner works with the urban forester to try and save the life of the tree.
All right.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right, thank you.
That
Thank you
means
very
save
much.
the tree, Mr. Urban Forester.
Yeah, that tree, we'll do what we can to,
All right,
it's a beautiful tree.
it is a beautiful tree.
I didn't realize how old it was till they came out and looked at it. So, it's very- Thank you.
Don't come back saying y'all couldn't save that tree now.
All right, number 7, 3124 Lexington Road, Thomas Craze, request for approval to return the porch area to its original screened-in configuration. Build 2 stairs and paint the front door. All right.
That don't look like Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. This is not Thomas Craze. I'm Kyle Robinette. I'm the former owner of that house. I live next door.
Okay.
Current owner is my son-in-law, and he is having to work tonight.
Okay.
And so he asked if I would represent. I'm very familiar with the project, and I
All
can
right.
answer any questions. The request is to first replace a tree in the front that was already approved by the board because it's not of the size that needed to be reviewed, and then returning the porch to the original condition. Christy Anderson had sent me some pictures a couple of years ago, and this is not actually accurate. It's not to the original condition. They want to put a screen porch in there. The original condition, it had those, and I don't know how to say it, the Jalos windows? Did I say that right? Am I even close? Jalos windows. It had those Jalos. So with the exception of that, they want to put a screen in the front, and then if you see the siding on the top, they want to mirror that down below, probably to about the height of that porch railing, which would look like the original. So screens instead of those Jalos windows with the screens is what they want to do. And then building 2 stairs. If you look on the north side, that's the right-hand side with the circle, with the blue circle there. You can see those stairs have sunken, and they want to replace that with a wooden stair structure with a handrail. And then still on the north side of the house, but around this side of it where it goes up into the laundry room, there's an existing wooden staircase that they want to replace because it's just run down.
It looks pitiful, that one.
I don't know if that picture was submitted on the...
It was.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
So that, so that staircase that you can see, the top step is probably 3 inches lower than it should be. It's just sunken, and they want to replace it with a full, basically cover over that with a wooden stair structure. And then that there just being replaced, and put a handrail on the right-hand side of it as well. They have little kids, so my grandchildren.
All right, you may think I'm crazy.
I'm sorry?
I said you may think I'm crazy, but your concrete stairs that you want to demolish and put in a new...
Actually, we'd be building over them.
So you're going to retain them? Okay.
We looked at getting the concrete stairs raised. You know, they can do that with the stuff. And that's really spendy. It's really spendy. So I think they quoted like $2,600 or something to do that, and it was just not right.
I would call those stairs in a house of this period a character-defining feature if I were being a historic preservationist this evening. So I'm glad to know, even if you can't use them, and I can see why I'd be dead already,
yes, ma'am.
that you're going to be able to save them at least under there so somebody can see what it was.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other comments on the project?
I have
Yes,
this is just my opinion, and I believe that wall where you want to start the siding,
yes, ma'am.
I believe that's a little too tall. And now the only thing is when you said children, you know, them pushing on, you know, the netting, you know, but I think that is going to be too solid for that particular opening. It's almost like closing off half of it whereas the jalousie windows like you were talking about, it gave the appearance of openness, but you could close it off. Whereas if you put siding up 3 feet, it's definitely closed. 18 inches, maybe 24.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
But I think 3 feet is just too much solidness. Even if you did the same type of banister with the little spindles, just lower, but something that keeps that space looking open and not looking so.
So more screen and less of the
Yes.
siding area. I'm sure
Yes.
I'm sure he's receptive to that.
Yeah. But again, that's my opinion. They may not have issues with it, but I'm just looking at your windows, and windows kind of flow, in my opinion, across, around your house.
Yes, ma'am.
And that ratio of opening to solid.
So if it were the height of the window that's on the porch side, which is probably about halfway up that railing, that would be.
That I would be
Would look
fine
better.
with that. I just think if you close off half of that opening, it's when you do it and you come to your house, you're gonna see a difference instead of just noticing that, oh, they have a screened-in porch. I don't think it's gonna look like a screened-in porch when you close off half of that space. It's almost like, oh, they
Yes, ma'am.
enclosed it and now it's a room. You know what I'm saying?
That checks, absolutely.
Yeah, but again, that's just my opinion.
Thank you.
Hillary, are the code people going to want that wall to be rail height?
They're gonna want a middle rail at rail height, yes.
Okay, so if we lower if you lower what's being covered with the siding, then you're going to have a rail that goes across the top of that.
That's
Yeah,
for
they're
like
gonna
safety.
They're gonna want a secondary
Yes.
rail for safety.
Okay. Which could be like just a rail behind the screen though, right? I mean, it could be
Yes.
on the house side of the screen.
Yes.
It could be a rail behind the
Yes.
screen.
Right.
outside.
That's just for in case somebody hits
Yes.
up against it or something.
It's a safety piece.
Track.
Okay. Any other comments?
It's gonna stay a porch? It's gonna stay a porch?
Oh, yes, ma'am, absolutely, yeah.
Like, I don't have a problem with the rail height as it is right now because you still have spindles.
You see
It's
through
just-
it, yeah.
It's just closing it off that visually, to me, is the problem. The height, like if you just did a screen with the banister like it is, that would be fine. I just have an issue with a closed off solid piece that high.
Right. What he was looking at was the pictures of what it was before. It was railed off just like that. It had
Okay.
windows that are about the visually, I mean, we couldn't measure it, it was a picture, but it was that exact, that area of the opening, and then below that it was siding just like the rest of the house. So that's what he was gonna try and replicate.
Okay. I mean, again, I'm only one person. Everybody else has different.
Yes, ma'am, appreciate it.
Are you saying that that's what originally that's, I
Actually,
say
I can't
originally,
speak
I don't
to
know
that.
when the
I
house
can-
was built and when the photograph that he may have looked at was taken.
Right, so, and I may have misspoke. I don't know if that was when it was originally built. I know that Christie sent me a picture and it was undated, but it was from a previous request. And I'm thinking it wouldn't have been original because those jailhouse windows, weren't those 50s? And the house was built in 1932, so I don't know what it was originally.
Well, and I know it was changed before you got it, because I remember when y'all moved into your house and you bought the house next door.
Right.
Where I can throw a rock and hit his house.
Please stop doing that.
This old, 20 years ago maybe, not anymore.
Kalia, I understand what you're saying. I will say, when I look at sheet 7A, it's less of a concern to me than it is if I'm really concerned if I look at 7C, because 7C is like the stretched out and it makes it the proportion look off. But I am less concerned with it staying where it's at if I'm looking at sheet 7A, because it's kind of like it's falling directly at the seal height of the addition of the windows that is adjacent to it.
Yep.
And with the amount, the proportion that would be where that rail is going down versus the proportion that's at the top, I think that those two proportions are give it some more height of where the screen's gonna be.
Yeah, it's just the closed off, just that not airy, not air moving, not putting siding down there, to me, almost makes it look like a room instead of a porch. That's my only concern. And literally, I don't, like I said, I don't have an issue with the height being where it is currently because it's open. It's just when you put all of that siding that closes it off, it feels more like a room and less like a porch. But again, just my opinion.
Can we, well, I'm gonna try a motion.
And I think that your proposed red color for the door is fine.
The approach to what now?
The red color that you proposed for the door
right.
is fine.
Yeah, you forgot to.
And actually, if we screen it out, it won't be visible
Nobody's gonna
anyway,
see it anyway.
unless you're on the porch.
I think that we could probably approve either height for the wall. No, as long as you know that if you make the lower part of the wall lower, you're going to have to put a rail across.
Either way, it's
at
going to have to
railing
have a
height.
rail in the
Yes,
middle
for
height. Yes.
protection of your children. Right. Are we ready for a vote? Yes?
So, well, number one's already approved, but we're gonna go ahead and say it anyway. So I move to approve item number one, which is to replace a tree in the front southeast corner of the residence with the wraparound garden bed. We approve to build the 2 stairs, one at the front and one at the rear, and to paint the front door the color that has been presented to the board. We also approve so that approves 1, 3, and 4. We also move to approve item number 2 with the height of the wall being at the current level of the rail or below, with the understanding that if it is below the current rail, that there needs to be an interior railing for code.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You had nice, clear photographs and everything. It was easy to understand your project. Wesley Black, 1601 Gilmer Avenue, Garden District.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Wesley Black. I'm representing the owner of the residence at 1601. We're requesting to add 2 new egress windows in the gable end to finish out the attic space for a bedroom.
All right. And you mentioned vinyl windows?
All the windows except the front 4 windows have been replaced with vinyl windows.
Okay. Because we don't usually approve vinyl windows, but,
Somebody snuck them in sometimes.
well, they left the ones
Without
on the
approval,
front.
probably, I'm sure.
But I don't think that means we have to approve them, right?
I'm fine using wood windows.
Sorry?
I said I'm fine using wood windows. I was just matching what was
there.
Oh, I understand.
Well, we're not going to see them anyway, unless we are, if we do, we're going to be running out into the intersection at Fairview Avenue and having a wreck.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be an issue the next time someone in Garden District
Yes,
comes up.
that's true.
And it is said that the board approved the vinyl one.
The fiberglass windows with the true divided lights are fine. A wood window or a wood clad or a metal clad window with true divided lights would be fine, rather than the vinyl window.
Right, yes, sir.
Make it a bit easier, Mr. Black. What kind of window would you install if it was not the Bama? You mentioned wood. Is there something that your owners would like to view, so we can just put it into motion? That way we don't have problems.
Yeah, I think the owners would prefer to use a wood window if vinyl is not acceptable.
The only problem with that is maintenance. A clad window, and especially in that location, might be better. A vinyl clad or an aluminum clad wood window.
How do y'all feel about composite?
About,
Composite? Treated the same as vinyl?
I haven't seen, if we're gonna do that, you're gonna need to come back and show us a window.
Okay.
And you need to talk into your microphone because I can't hear you. That's all right.
You're a tall fellow.
You're a tall fellow.
I mean, if you don't mind doing either vinyl clad or wood, and that way you won't have to come back, or be fine. I mean, but if you want to do the composite, I don't know what kind of timeline y'all are working on.
I'm fine with vinyl clad or wood.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll do that then, that way they're done.
All right. May I have a motion? Is there anybody in the audience to speak to this, Lauren? You didn't have any comments? Okay.
You good?
I move to approve with the use of a vinyl clad or wood window.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Has anyone, we need to approve the minutes of the last meeting. You have something?
Ms. Brown, may I speak? I know this is unusual. I'm Cruz Reeves, Midtown Alliance. After Mr. Adams finished talking about those windows on item 2, got me to thinking, you know, the code says you got to have 2 means of egress from the sleeping room, and I'm sure some of those windows are, you know, sleeping room. And he said the windows would not operate with those outside grids.
If they were right up next to the glass, that was the deal.
Yeah, the windows would not operate with the alternative that we normally ask people to do. With the current solution that they have, the windows will open.
So it will work the way they have it?
The windows will
okay,
open,
I misunderstood. I thought otherwise. Okay.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Are there any additions, corrections to the meetings of the last minutes? Minutes of the last meeting?
Move to approve.
All right, move to
Second.
approve. All right, all in favor? All right, thank you. Anything else?